Hello and welcome to this episode of the Diary of a Lawyer. And this is a case about Johnson and Johnson, which has been ordered to pay millions of pounds in relation to patient in relying on its baby powder product. The judge in California ruled in favor of a man who claimed heavy exposure to talc powder since childhood. This is just one of the many cases that have been brought against Johnson, which is currently undergoing bankruptcy proceedings in relation to similar cases. And this was a verdict of around 18.8 million to a California man who said he developed serious illness, and a jury decided on Tuesday that that was correct and he must be compensated, which is a setback for the company as it seeks to settle thousands of similar cases over its talc-based products in a U.S. bankruptcy court. Now, the judge ruled in favor of the plaintiff, Emre Hernandez Valadez, who filed suit last year in a California state court in Oakland against J&J, seeking monetary damages. He is 24 and he's developed serious illnesses around his heart as a result of heavy exposure to the company's talc since childhood. The 6-week trial was the first over talc that the New Jersey-based J&J has faced in almost 2 years. There are other cases that the company is seeking to settle. Now, Johnson already agreed to pay around 8 billion over alleged similar claims in relation to its products that it has been selling. The jury in this particular case found that the plaintiff was entitled to damages to compensate him for his medical bills and pain and suffering. It, however, declined to award punitive damages against the company. However, the plaintiff may not be able to collect the judgment immediately because of a bankruptcy court order that freezes most litigation over J&J's talc-related issues. The vice president of litigation of J&J said in a statement that the company would appeal the verdict, calling it irreconcilable with the decades of independent scientific evaluations and confirming Johnson's baby powder is safe and does not contain the substance and does not cause the illness. The lawyer for the plaintiff said he could not immediately be reached for comment. However, the trial being watched by the media related to what was going on in the court proceedings, and in the closing arguments to the jury on 10th July, J&J's lawyers said there was no evidence either linking Hernandez's kind of illness to asbestos, proving that Hernandez was ever exposed to the tainted talc. Now, Hernandez's lawyers during closing arguments accused J&J of quote-unquote a despicable decades-long cover-up of asbestos contamination. Hernandez testified in June, telling jurors that he would have avoided J&J's talc if he had been warned that it contained asbestos, as his lawsuit alleges. Jurors heard from his mother's testimony, who broke down and cried when relating, sadly, Hassan's illness, which she said he used the powder on the baby through childhood. Now, tens of thousands of plaintiffs have sued, alleging that J&J's baby powder and other talc products sometimes contained asbestos and caused serious illness. And J&J said its talc products are safe and do not contain the asbestos, which has been linked to the illnesses. Now, the subsidiary of J&J LTL Management in April filed for bankruptcy in Trenton, New Jersey, proposing to pay around 8.9 billion US dollars to settle more than 38,000 lawsuits and prevent new cases from coming forward. It was the company's second attempt to resolve TLC claims in bankruptcy after a federal appeals court rejected an earlier bid. Now, most litigation has been halted during bankruptcy proceedings, but the U.S. Chief Bankruptcy Judge Michael Kaplan, overseeing the case, allowed this case to continue because of health associated issues by the plaintiff. The form of illness that the plaintiff is suffering is said to be extremely rare, which makes his case different from the vast majority pending against J&J. The plaintiffs are seeking to have LTL's latest bankruptcy filing dismissed, and they have argued that the filing was brought in bad faith to insulate the company from litigation. However, the company argues that this is the best form of delivering settlement payouts to plaintiffs as opposed to a random and unequal and inefficient, inequitable distribution through the trial courts, which they have likened to a lottery in which some litigants get large awards and others get nothing. The judge said in the proceedings that the cost of its related verdict settlements and legal fees have reached around 4.5 billion US dollars. According to other reports by reports from, say, NPR and others, they report that Johnson & Johnson deliberately did not disclose the presence of the alleged substance, and apparently marketed the product to what they called as hot areas where there's moisture, and describing some of the areas as A&A according to NPR, meaning African Americans, which takes a different angle to the issue at hand. Now, that is basically a nutshell of the suit that is facing J&J, an avalanche of suits over such serious health issues implicated allegedly in its products. And so there we shall leave it on this episode of The Diary of a Lawyer. Thanks for listening. We shall speak again. Thanks. Bye.